So again, back to your original question of, do you think this is a simulation? Heck yes. Hell yes. Because it can't be so perfectly mathematically coded like this. How is it possible that I've, been doing for the last, you've seen some of the calculations that I've been doing, but, it's sort of mental. Oh God, what's this?
So,
like I've done some of these big, you won't be able to see this, but I don't know if you can see this diagram here, but if you look at it, this is how I want you guys to look at these numbers as these two poles. This is how Diane teaches us. There are two poles there. Can you see? Like there's that one there. So you've got your number there and you've got your number here. And this is one I was doing for the Genesis reset, which was 3895 BC, right? So I wanted to go right back. And you see, it's not a palindromic. It's not an mirror at the bottom, but at the top it is. Can you see?
Yeah.
So it's always an even way above when these events happen. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. And it's like, so you've got to see it as two poles, like the Boaz and Yakin. You've got to see. Yeah. You've got to look at it like that. And that is your every single day, because that's what we're dealing with inside here, your left and your right.
Yeah, and the polarity, right?
The polarity, there you go. And I've obviously seen you and Kelly and, the things that you've put out over time, because I got really interested in Tartaria, because I was kind of aligning it with the Ottoman Empire at that time and things like that, which we won't talk about now. There'll be some people who will be more into the, the tarot and the more oracle side of things, because this is what I think that these oracles were doing. They knew this stuff, right?
Yeah. And the whole, people who predict, the future, Nostradamus, all these people, oracle. Yeah. Like it's, we've been, and this is part of the scam, right? Is we've been sold that it was just these mystical people who had mystical powers and were doing this, but they were probably doing the math, because what you're talking about is basically everything is a cycle, and there's cycles within cycles, and big cycles and small cycles, and it's all based around numerological dates, right? And so if you can work that out and work the system out, then you can read the
exactly future. And you know what was really for me, I think, where I started, and look, every system, look, we I'm sure we're here to learn, right? Nothing's set, but the maths, what it does for you is that, because you can't really go wrong, can you? Because you're like, if something is every 9 days, then it's every 9 days. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just the way it is. So you can't mess with maths, which is why I really like it. But yeah, I think that this simulation that we're in, if we can actually tap into these numbers and we can pull this layer back and we can start working with these numbers every day, then I think you're right. The elites use this stuff. And what really cemented it for me, Cambell, was not cemented it for me, because nothing's set in stone, but because of my Quranic studies, there's when I told Diane this, she was like, oh my God, Affy, this is crazy. So in the Quranic scripture, there is chapter 74. I don't want to tell you the wrong one, but I will send it to you so you can write it down. But there's a chapter in the Quran which talks about the number 19, right? And now what the verse says, and this for me, now I've deciphered it very differently now that I understand things differently. What it says is that it's God talking to people, the collective, and saying that the unbelievers, or just the people, right? So I don't take it as the unbelievers, because that's what they've interpreted in the mainstream, but I see it as the collective. So God is talking about the collective. Over them, I will put them in a state of succor, which is Sukkur, I think, which is an Arabic word. So that's just the English sort of version of it. But succor in Arabic means intoxication.
Oh, I'll make them.
But in the Quranic, the scholars, they've actually interpret it as hell. So what he's saying is that so that verse, mainstream Muslims believe that it's talking about on the day of judgment, God's going to put the believers in this hell, this special hell called succor, and they are going to, and over that is 19 angels, right? That's what they believe. Okay, that's the mainstream version.
Yeah,
Now, my version, when I went into it and I looked at the actual lexicon dictionary and what the words meant, so it's saying that the collective, okay, will be put into a state of intoxication, which is what we're under, this collective
oh,
narrative,
yes.
lies,
Okay,
the
yeah.
bullshit. We're intoxicated, cognitive dissonance, all of
Yep.
that stuff,
We've
right?
taken in toxic
So
things.
exactly. So with that in mind, then it goes on to say, and over them I have put 19. It doesn't say 19 angels. It doesn't say bloody anything. It says 19,
Oh, okay.
which is the simulation, ladies and gentlemen. Do you see? That's how I see it, because now I've understood the cycles of 9. And I've seen that, okay, it's saying 1 to 9. There is only 1 to
Oh,
9.
what? So,
Everything.
okay, one,
The
two, yeah.
19, if you think about 19,
Hmm.
see, it's for the clever ones who are going to decode it. It's not for, you see, this is the other topic which we haven't even touched
Yeah.
on, which my other very good friend, Tiffany, who is Tiff, her thing is causing freedom, her thing, her whole sort of
Causing
blog site,
freedom. Well, that's a good
causing
thing.
freedom, because she is big into cause and effect. She's like, I'm sorry, Affy, I don't buy it. I'm not going to buy it. That this is it, and this is how it should be, because we are suffering the effects of causes by bad causes. We're suffering the effects of those. So if we put good causes down, then good
Oh,
things will come.
okay.
But a reason why I mentioned her is because it comes back down to, when you decipher things, it comes back down to mature consciousness, which is what she calls, this is the TIFFs, and we talked about this. TIFFs
Yes.
coined this as mature consciousness versus immature consciousness. And I tell you, that is everything, because
Hmm.
that was exactly how her and I became friends, because we started discussing these things. And when in my journey, what I found was, when I first read the Quran, my consciousness was here. When I first read the Bible, my consciousness was here. But guess what? My consciousness is here now. So
Mm.
my understanding of it is completely different to what it was there. So imagine you've got a bunch of morons sitting there, who are already indoctrinated, and they're like being told to interpret this fucking thing, and they've gone around and they've literally just made shit up. And then obviously you've got the elites who are like, yes, please continue to make that shit up. Yes, it does. They're like promoting it because they're using
Mm.
it.